Okay, ladies and gentlemen, back on with you. It's Sunday. Wistoria. Wand and Sword, Season 2, Episode 4, and the story begins. It's kind of funny, though, because I listen to Blind Guardian most of the time. I really they have a song in there called "And the Story Ends," so I was thinking, but and the story begins. So this episode is absolute cinema. I always wanted to do that. I've seen the memes of absolute cinema. It is absolute cinema. It's so absolute cinema, they decided to roll credits and show scenes from season 1. And I was like, yo, absolute cinema. Okay, so context. The episode starts on a flashback. Now, I am not an expert on this series. I do not know the ins and outs of Wistoria. What we're shown is a meeting between Finn, who I don't know how old Finn is. This guy must be old. For someone who's got blonde hair and he is a little short, walking around and yeah, he's pretty old. I think. I'm just speculating. But anyway, there's a meeting between him and this person. I believe this person's name is Mercedes. Now, I'm not sure if this person is Will's mother or who they are. Later in the episode, we find out she's the goddess of magic or the god of magic. I'm not sure. Now, the logistics of this is this. The meaning boils down to this one thing. Will is the key. They boil down basically to this. This is what it is. He is basically the hope. The hope! The hope of the world in defeating the celestial being that is behind the barrier of the sky. Okay. So that's the meaning we get. And basically it's a vow that he gave to Mercedes. Finn did. This woman is black. Well, not, she's got black hair, black veil, black lipstick, black, what have you. And she's wearing a black dress. So she basically gives the baby to Finn. And then that's all we get. And then she walks away and, and in the background, you kind of see the tower in the sky and whatnot. So, logistically, what is being said here is that Will is a combination of wand and sword. He can use a sword, and he could do magic through his sword. Now, after that scene, we basically, time goes back to normal, and we just see these scenes, the events of last week. We actually see the perspective of Finn. He's in the background after he gave the sword to Finn, and he put the drop on there, and he activated took the limiter off. I'm not sure also if Mercedes is the one who's put the limiter on him. I think it is, but I can't be sure. And he's just sitting there like a bat. Listen, I love Finn. I love this guy. This guy is 100% badass, personified. I love his style. I love the way he looks. I love the shit out of him. He's just standing there with the glasses. I guess it's Finn's glasses, and he's like, and he's laughing. He's joyous that this is happening now. Now, Will's going rock shot at this point. He's spewing through all the enemies, and then he eventually encounters the Divider. Pro quo, One of the villains is played by the guy who plays Bakugo. I laugh because it's like he's over the top and ridiculous, and he gets later on they become sore losers of the fact that Finn that Will's gonna destroy their creation, and it's like, oh, come on, man, stop acting like a douche. Anyway, he's going through everything. They attack the Divider. I can't even say that. Send him flying into the court area of where the academy is. Now, here's the funny thing about this whole situation. This thing about what Will is, what he could do, the whole 9 yards. It is under my impression that no one knew. The only person who knew was Finn. However, going by the logistics of the people who are in the tower, if you don't realize, the people in the tower are special mages that keep the barrier up. Now, I'm just going to try to find his name because I'm bad with names and I just need to do this. Okay, so Old King Mysterious Aaron. I don't think that the Old King Mysterious, I don't think he knew what Will was. But towards the end of the episode, he acknowledges Finn. He acknowledges to Finn that he made a vow. And now that vow has come to fruition. He's like, oh, you found it. Because once the tower, they find out the whole kit and caboodle, they're all looking at like, what the frick is this? I need to find this guy's name. It was not the guy Zio. It was this other guy. Right. Wiseman, Insidia. I'm sorry, my names. Well, he acknowledges in the episode also what it is, this fifth element spiel, and that it is something that was used a long time ago. Now, the fight continues. While he's fighting in the courtyard, Finn, this thing, everyone just runs over down there. Charlotte, Julius, Shion, the other two, people who were with him from last season 1. Then these other students who were berating him and calling him useless and making fun of him because he couldn't do magic, they're there too. And guess what they're doing? They're cheering him on. While this is going on the other side of the courtyard is that Professor Douchebag Ed, who is like, he's got like a slash on his back. He's bleeding from the mouth. He barely can stand. And he's like, I have to defeat the enemy because I don't want a useless person who can't use magic to defeat him. And then there was that girl who was the announcer. She's like, okay, it's time you to just sit there. Let your student handle this. Now, the fight continues. Will's sword breaks. This was definitely the part of the episode. It was like, so anyone who isn't really in the know of this series, Will's goal is to get to Elfie. Alfaria Albus Surfor. I don't know. I'm guessing she's childhood friend, because they grow up in the same orphanage, right? So Sheila, not like the stupid douchebag mages that are there in the tower, telling him, no, don't do that. oh, you can't leave. The guy who uses fire, the wise man, he's like, oh, you can't leave. And she's like, I'm just going into the balcony. She creates, because Will's sword is broken, a sword made of ice. And she's like, oops. And it's literally made when she's on the balcony and the sword drops. The sword drops, goes to Will's sword, that's broken, and he absorbs it, and now he's got a nice sword. And he goes to town. Now, of course, the bad guy who plays Bach, who's got the voice of Bakugo, is like, who is this kid? Oh, I'm so angry. So his cohort, who has no head, does some writings, and they create more gates to bring out more creatures to fight Will. Guess what? It don't mean jack. Because then Will basically does a spell with the sword and creates an ice castle. And then it just turns everything into ice. He does the sword, and he basically creates these icicles, come out and destroys those creatures. And then he goes and he finally kills this creature. No problem. Now, at this point in the episode, it's already established. Or it was established in the beginning of the episode, where they stated that he's going to defeat the celestial entity that is behind the barrier. That they say that in the beginning of the episode. The whole the conversation between Finn and Mercedes. And that's when they reference the ones in the tower about that. And the guy whose name's Zio, who's got the lightning and everything, he's laughing his ass off that this is happening. And then that's when Wiseman brings up the whole fifth element and everything between. And the old man states about Finn, you finally found it. And when Finn's on the rooftop watching this shit go down, he's laughing his ass off. And he looks up to the sky and says, Mercedes, I finally did, protected the vow. I made promise with the vow. It took 500 years, so that means Finn's really old. But I made it happen. So, and then that's basically what occurs. And when that's all done, they roll the credits. I was like, yo. Now, animation-wise, this gets a 10 out of 10. Solid. I see some people on Mal complaining about this show. Get the fuck out of here. This series is gold, in my opinion. The animation's great. Really makes me feel for the characters. That's all I need. That's all I need for this series. And I'm very intrigued because this basically, as it says, and the story begins. And the reason why it says the story begins is because Will has basically achieved the apex. He has combined wand and sword with this ability, with this spell. Now, next episode's called Departure. He's going to the tower because, which they didn't say yet, but they're going to. The explanation I think is going to happen is that because he created an original spell, he can go up. Logistically, that's, I think, what's going to happen. But overall, listen, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. Story-wise, I thought it was done to a point where, okay, the reveal happened. We now know what Will is. We now know what really is going on here. He eventually is going to have to fight this entity and destroy it. And the barrier won't have to happen anymore. that's all I have to say about that. And listen, the music's great, the animation, this was, God, Jesus. It was so good, man. Like I said, absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. But I'd like to know what you guys think about Wistoria. Comments below. Well, listen, I really dig it. I do. I really dig it. Um, to me, it's different from like Black Clover and Marshall because Will doesn't like. He's not like Asta and Mosh. They're no, 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 no. He just the way his whole spiel works is that he has a limiter on himself. That's the whole bit. He's hoarding magic in his body, but he can't pull it out. And when he removes the limiter, he can. And that's the spiel of it, that he's able to do that. So he can use magic, but it's just in a different way. But that's all I got for you guys. Vodka Night 22. This was episode 4. Holy shit, what's going to come down the pike? I have no idea. Look forward to it. I'll see you guys later.